Broadcasts of the City of Neenah Common Council meetings are produced by University Studios of the University of Wisconsin-Fox Valley. Neenah residents can get information about City Council meetings, City Committee meetings, meeting agendas, and other documents via the City website, www.neenahgov.org. Neenah residents can express their opinions about city issues or about these broadcasts by contacting the mayor's office, contacting their city alderman, or by completing the electronic feedback form on the city website, www.neenahgov.org. All public portions of the meetings are recorded in entirety and are not edited for playback.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call to order the meeting of the City of Neenah Common Council for April 18th, 2023. This is our organizational meeting. We will start with the clerk calling the roll, and please indicate your presence on your roll call device.
Alderperson Boyette is excused. Alderperson Borchard?
Here.
Hillstrom?
Here.
Lendrum?
Here.
Erickson?
Here.
Weber?
Here.
Germs?
Here.
Steiner?
Here.
Stevenson?
Here.
Thank you. Council President Stevenson will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. The next item on the agenda will be the swearing-in ceremony for our three aldermen. Alderman District 1, Carrie Lendrum, Alderman District 2, Tammy Erickson, and Alderman District 3, Scott Weber, all for a 3-year aldermanic term to expire in April of 2026. Please join the clerk down at the podium.
I, Tammy Erickson,
Having been elected
alderperson of the City of Neenah,
Winnebago County,
do solemnly swear
that I will support
the Constitution
of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin,
and will faithfully discharge the duties of alderperson to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
We'll now start the organizational part of our meeting for this evening. I would entertain a motion that rules of order of the previous council be adopted as rules to govern this council until modified by proper action of the council. Is
Mayor, I'll make that motion.
there a motion?
Make that. You wanted that?
Yes, sorry. We're making her be in two places.
He's pretty quick, but not that.
There's a motion by Council President Stevenson, seconded by Alderman Borchert. Is there any discussion? Okay. Please cast your vote on your voting device. That motion passes 8-0. The next item on the agenda is election of officers, President of the Council. Are there any I'd entertain a Nominations for President of the Council. Alderman Lendrum.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to nominate John Skirms.
There's Alderman Erickson.
Second.
There's a nomination and a second to nominate Alderman Skirms for council president. Are there additional nominations?
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to nominate Brian Borchert.
Thank you. There's a nomination for Alderman Borchert
Second.
and a second. So Alderman Steiner and Council President Stevenson. Are there any further nominations? Any further nominations? Is there a motion to close the nominations?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second to close nominations. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? We will conduct the election of president of the council by secret ballot. We will be they already were distributed to you. So, are you collecting? Okay. They'll be collected once you've completed filling them out. There is a two-way tie, 4-4. So I have a couple of different options, and first alternative option that I'm going to exercise is to conduct a second vote to see how that goes. We'll distribute new ballots.
We have.
You have them?
Yeah.
Okay. the vote remains tied at 4-4. I did, seeing that Alderman Boyette was not present, I did consult with the city attorney prior to the meeting to see what our options were should a tie occur. And he has indicated to me that we have either the option actually of my breaking the tie. I would opt to not to do that. We also could merely flip a coin or draw a card, but I don't know who has a deck of cards here at City Hall. So I will put it to the council for your consideration, as it is your choice to make regarding council president.
I'd be interested in John and Brian's opinion first, because they're the ones most impacted. Is to throw it both on you, but my thought is you're the ones running, so you could maybe have a on what your preference would be.
There has not been. That's kind of been the theme of my
Menashe voted
mayorship.
116 times on.
And I would recommend going up.
Backwards or forwards?
Yeah.
By height. Well, it's unfortunate. Our ninth members. No.
Yep.
Well, who's got a coin?
Once or 2 out of 3?
Alderman Lendrum.
It just seems like the most fair way would be to flip a coin.
Right.
I just don't have one. All I have is a nickel.
There you go.
Why don't you give it?
Headquarters fine.
We could,
It's not that big a deal.
could do the very large. Yeah, don't, yeah. Council President Stevenson, would you like to?
Flip a coin to see who wants to pick the coin. I don't know. I would name one heads and one tail. And it's not my call.
Well, you're currently the president of the
Well,
council, but
then I would, if I make the decision, I'll say Borchard's heads and tail. And see how that flies. It's, I don't think it.
one flip,
I don't think it matters.
I would say one flip. Why make it?
right,
One flip.
okay.
Let it flip and hit the floor.
Let it flip and hit the floor.
He'll take the quarter. He'll take the quarter. Don't let it hit your foot.
We are act,
I would say the city clerk
Yep,
should.
let the clerk.
Read it.
The city clerk should flip it.
On the carpet. Let's make the record.
I don't know, is that,
One side's heavier than the other, so tails is gonna. I would use a coin. I would use a coin.
Why don't we just use a coin?
You have a.
I think we should
Let's
just
just
do
use a
a
coin.
standard coin.
The standard coin is
Yeah.
that.
Use
Use a coin.
That's all I.
like both of them in your pocket. Like,
Gold pennies.
it's-
Roller.
Congratulations.
I'll donate the coin for historic purposes.
Send that to Menashe.
I will.
You know, we probably did just make history in the city of Neenah by flipping a coin for council president. So moving on then to mayor's appointments to the standing committees, one-year terms to expire May of 2024. Finance and Personnel Committee, Alderman Erickson, Alderman Boyette, Alderman Skirms, Alderman Steiner, and Council President Borchert. Public Services and Safety, Alderman Lendrum, Alderman Hillstrom, Alderman Weber, Alderman Council President Borchert, and Alderman Stevenson. The Joint Fire, Finance, and Personnel Committee, Council President Borchert, Alderman Boyette, and Alderman Stevenson. Is there a motion to confirm the mayor's appointments to the standing committees?
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to confirm those appointments to the standing committees. Please vote on your voting device. That motion passes 8-0. The next is mayor's appointments to the special council committees, one-year terms to expire April 2024. The Committee on Rules, Council President Borchert, Alderman Stevenson, and Alderman Boyette. The Legislative Review, Mayor Lang, Council President Borchert, and Chair of the Finance and Personnel Committee previously was Alderman Erickson. But that appointment will be made clear after we have our short organizational meeting for electing chairs. Is there a motion to confirm those appointments to the standing committees?
So moved.
There's a motion by Alderman Lendrum, seconded by Alderman Hillstrom. Please cast your vote on your voting device. That motion passes 8-0. We'll take a short recess to permit organizational meetings of the standing special council committees to elect chair, vice chair, and set meeting date. We'll move on now in the meeting to the reports from the standing and special council committees. Is there a report from the Finance and Personnel Committee?
Thank you, Mayor. The Finance and Personnel Committee met, and I will be the chair of the Finance and Personnel Committee, and John Skirms will be the vice chair of the Finance and Personnel Committee. We will be meeting on Mondays at 6 o'clock in the council chambers, the week prior to the council meeting.
Thank you for your report. Public Services and Safety Committee.
Thank you, Mayor. We met and I was reelected the chair for Public Services and Safety, and Lee Hillstrom was also reelected for vice chair. We will be meeting at the same day and time, Tuesday, the week before council, at the same time of 6:30.
Thank you for that report. Committee on Rules.
Thank you, Mayor. I was elected chair on Committee on Rules, and refresh my memory, I have many committees. Who was
I
the vice
think I
chair?
was.
Yeah,
On Rules? Yes.
Yeah.
On Rules, vice chair. It was Alderman Stevenson, and we are meeting on call.
Legislative Review Committee.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Elected Alderman Stevenson as chair and Alderman Borchard as vice chair.
I think those are backwards.
Nope.
I'm on rules, not legislative.
Yep. Legislative
Sorry.
Review is
I'm
the chairman of the Finance,
Finance Committee.
Committee.
You just got them flipped.
Adam,
Yep.
sorry about that. Okay.
Thank you for those reports. We will adjust the seating chart at the next council meeting, so we'll continue in our same seating for
There.
tonight's meeting.
There. I did talk to Shar. She's going to have it for the training Thursday night.
Okay.
It'll be set up.
Okay, great. Thank you. Moving on to mayor's appointment as we continue. Alderman Stevenson to the Appleton Redevelopment Authority Exhibition Center Advisory Committee of the Appleton Redevelopment Authority, term to expire December 2024. Alderman Lendrum and Alderman Hillstrom to the Board of Public Works for a one-year term to expire April 2024. Mayor Lang, Fire Chief Clone, City Attorney Rashid, Clerk Nagel, Director of Community Development and Assessment Hayes, Director of Finance Rasmussen, Director of Public Works Kaiser, Director of the Water Utility Mock, Police Chief Olson, Director of Information Services Wenninger, Director of Parks and Recreation Pading, Director of Library Services Hardina Wilhelm, Director of Human Resources and Safety Fairchild, Alderman Boyette, Alderman Lendrum, Winnebago County Health Representative Doug Gearin, School Superintendent Mary Pfeiffer, and a Red Cross representative to the Emergency Government Committee for a one-year term to expire April 2024. Director of Community Development Hayes to the Fox Cities Tourism and Convention Bureau for a one-year term to expire April 2024. Alderman Skirms as council representative to the Bid Board for a one-year term expiring April 2024. Alderman Erickson as a member of the Community Development Authority for a one-year term to expire April 2024. Director of Finance Rasmussen to the Fox Cities Room Tax Commission for a one-year term to expire April 2024. Deputy Director of Community Development Schmidt to the Fox Cities Room Tax Commission for a one-year term to expire April 2024. Alderman Erickson as council representative to the Library Board for a one-year term expiring April 2024. Pat Rosenack, Megan Johnson, Kurt Stein, Danielle Carls to the Neenah Arts Council for a three-year term expiring April 2026. Brent Bowman, Director of Future Neenah, and Courtney Kozitsky, Education and Community Program Manager of Bergstrom Mahler Museum of Glass to the Neenah Arts Council for a two-year term expiring April 2025. Jody Leslie, Youth Services Librarian of Neenah Public Library to the Neenah Arts Council for an indefinite tenure non-voting member term. Alderman Stevenson, Weber, and Borchert to the Liquor Licensing Review Subcommittee for a one-year term to expire April 2024. Alderman Stevenson is representative on the Bergstrom Mahler Museum Board of Directors for a one-year term to expire April 2024. Is there a motion to confirm these appointments?
Moves to approve.
There's a motion by Alderman Skirms, seconded by Council President Borchert. Any discussion? Seeing none, please cast your vote on your voting device. That motion passes 8-0. Next is council appointments. Alderman Skirms as the council representative to the Joint Review Board.
Mayor, this should be reported out by the council.
Okay.
These are council appointments.
Well,
So I-
thank you.
Yeah, so I'll do it
Thank you for that correction.
No problem. I have the floor.
Yes, you do.
Okay, thank you. There's a series of council recommended appointments. These are all for one-year terms that will expire April of 2024. Alderperson Skirms as a council rep to the Joint Review Board. Alderperson Weber as the council representative to the Landmarks Commission. Alderperson Boyette as council rep to the Loan Assistance Board. Alderperson Erickson as the council representative to the Neenah Arts Council. Alderperson Weber as the council representative to the Park and Recreation Commission. Alderperson Steiner as the council representative to the Plan Commission. Alderperson Steiner is also the council representative to the Waterworks Commission. And Alderperson Lendrum as the council representative to the Sustainability Neenah Committee and these are all one-year terms to expire April 24th. And I'll make a motion for those nominations.
So moved.
There's a motion by Alderman Stevenson, seconded by Alderman Erickson. Any discussion on these council appointments? Seeing none, please cast your vote on your voting device. That motion passes 8-0. Before moving on to the regular part of our council meeting tonight, I'd just like to make a few comments and take the opportunity to do that. I promise to keep them brief. First of all, I'd like to thank each of the aldermen for their dedication to serving the city of Neenah. We are fortunate in Neenah to have had such a legacy of service by so many individuals. That legacy of dedication and commitment is demonstrated by each one of you, and I'm proud and thankful to serve with you. I'm particularly thankful to Alderman Stevenson for his many years of serving as our council president. You have been the epitome of commitment to Neenah and an inspiration to all of us who have worked alongside you for many years. I'd like to personally thank you for helping me transition into the role of mayor over this past year and the many ways you've supported and encouraged me. Next, I'd like to thank our amazing department heads and staff here at the city. This has truly been a year of transitions for all of us. We hired 4 new department heads within the first 10 months of my tenure. We are incredibly fortunate that we have been able to hire very excellent individuals to fill those department head roles, and we're grateful for the great contributions those new leaders have already made. David Rashid, our new city attorney, Amy Fairchild, our new Director of Human Resources and Safety, Vicki Rasmussen, our new Director of Finance, and Nicole Hardina-Wilhelm, our new Neenah Public Library Director. We have a great team of seasoned veterans at the city who truly helped make these times of transition work for all of us, and I'm grateful to all of you. We went through some rough moments over this past year, particularly with the sudden and unexpected passing of 2 of our active employees, this occurring on the very same weekend in October. Again, our experienced and wonderful staff supported each other while we together mourned these losses. Because we do truly value our staff and at the City of Neenah, one of the first initiatives I endeavored to undertake as mayor was an evaluation of the culture within our organization. In other words, are we putting into practice the values we hold dear? Values like integrity, dedication, service, and professionalism. Undergoing a process like this is more important than ever for organizations such as ours as we seek to do our very best at serving the citizens of Neenah. We have now entered the culture team building phase of this process, and we're excited to see how our employees will lead the effort to build a strong, positive, and cohesive workplace that all of our employees can feel proud to be a part of. Many wonderful projects that have been worked on for many years have come to fruition this past year, and I thank our staff, our past council members, and the former mayor for their leadership on those. Some of those include the Jewelers Park Trail, the Solaris Apartments on Main Street, and the 201 West Wisconsin Avenue Apartments. There are many others on which we've started the process, including the Arrowhead District. This 30-acre piece of property adjacent to our very vibrant downtown holds so much opportunity, and we've been excited to explore new opportunities for it. Our lengthy process of working with RDG Planning and Design for the development of a new master plan for Arrowhead has been an inspiring project and is now close to coming to its conclusion and the presentation of a new conceptual master plan. Finally, celebrating our city's 150th anniversary of incorporation this year has been a great opportunity for us to recognize the many reasons we love this place we call home. Our celebration committee has creatively brainstormed up some great things for us to enjoy this year, and I'm grateful to all of them. That committee includes Alderman Stevenson, Steiner, and Weber, Parks and Rec Director Kading, former Parks Director Eileen McCoy, Sarah Hanneman of Future Neenah, Jim Taylor, the Director of the Neenah Historical Society, Gretchen Robb, the former Library Director and now Nicole Hardina-Wilhelm, and Mark Ellis, former Neenah Alderman. I can't forget to thank the Neenah Police Department and their creative efforts with the 150th commemorative medallion treasure hunt. The thing I appreciated most about being the director of the Neenah Historical Society for so many years was the chance to learn about the inspiring people of Neenah's past who have made a positive difference. Their dedication to this community was so clear. Their decisions were based on the good of the entire community, and those decisions are still positively impacting us today. As I said before, it has been an honor to have worked alongside all of you, elected officials and staff, over this past year as we together do our best to serve the city of Neenah. May our shared goal and driving motivation be to serve the citizens of Neenah with integrity, compassion, and dedication, so that we will make a positive difference not only for today, but for generations to come. Now, moving on to the regular meeting of the Neenah Common Council. We have no additional appointments to be made. Is there any objection to unanimous consent of approval of the council proceedings of the March 2023 regular session? Any objections? Oh, April 4th, sorry, that was in error there. The April 4th council proceedings. Seeing no objection, that is so ordered. Is there anyone here who would like to speak in the public forum? This is an opportunity for the public to speak on any topic that they would like to for 5 minutes. Is there anyone here who would like to speak? Seeing no one, I'll close the public forum. Next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. It's a very long consent agenda. It is available on our website for you to look at if you have questions about what we're considering on the consent agenda this evening. Is there any objection to unanimous consent of the consent agenda? Alderman Skirms.
Thank you, Mayor. Just through the documentation and what's in the agenda backup, the approval or the Greens Poorhouse for the May block party is in there, but for Oktoberfest, there's nothing but a map. I'm guessing it exists. It does just not included in the packet.
Okay, thank you for that. Is there any objection to unanimous consent of the consent agenda? Seeing none, that is so ordered. Moving on to reports of our standing committees. Regular Public Services and Safety Committee meeting of April 11th, 2023. Chairperson Lendrum.
Thank you, Mayor. Reporting out from that regular Public Services and Safety Committee meeting of April 11th, 2023. Minutes can be found on the city website. Item number 1. Committee recommends council approve the Neenah Police Department to enter into a new 5-year contract with Axon and approve the 2023 payment in the amount of $33,932.25 for 1 year of that 5-year contract using the 2023 budgeted capital funds, and I would so move.
There's a motion by Alderman Lendrum, seconded by Alderman Hillstrom. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none, please cast your vote on your voting device. That motion passes 8-0.
Item number 2. Committee recommends council approve the purchase of a 2024 International Tandem Patrol Truck using the International Chassis and the Monroe Truck Equipment Package from Packer City International Truck for $251,302, with the funding coming from $230,000 in the 2023 capital budget and the remainder to come from the equipment fund balance, and I would so move.
There's a motion by Alderman Lendrum and seconded by Council President Borchert. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, please cast your vote on your voting device. That motion passes 8-0.
Item number 3, committee recommends council approve the purchase of 2 24-foot ceiling fans from Black Gold Environmental Services for $11,681 to approve electrical and fire system work to be done to install the ceiling fans, not to exceed an amount of $3,250, with the funding source being $15,000 of the 2023 capital facility budget, and I would so move.
There's a motion by Alderman Lendrum, seconded by Alderman Weber. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none, please cast your vote on your voting device. That motion passes 8-0.
And lastly, item number 4, committee recommends council approve the purchase of the Polera APS system from TAPCO for $15,422 using 2023 CIP, and the item number is on the agenda, with the intent to be reimbursed by Community Development Block Grant dollars to the Public Infrastructure Fund balance, and I would so move.
There's a motion by Alderman Lendrum, seconded by Council President Borchert. Alderman Lendrum.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to, it's not really clear what this is. This is a programmable audible pedestrian signal that will go in at Bell and Commercial and Bell and Marathon. And so you will be able to hear, somebody with a visual impairment will be able to hear instructions when they can safely go, and it is actually programmable. So we are probably not going to do any programming for the first year, and other than the tone, but we are taking suggestions.
Is there any further discussion on this item? Seeing none, please cast your vote on your voting device. That motion passes 8-0.
And that's the end of my report.
Thank you for your report. The regular Finance and Personnel Committee meeting of April 10th was canceled. Regular Plan Commission meeting of April 11th. Alderman Steiner.
Thank you, Mayor. The regular Plan Commission met on April 11th. The minutes can be found on the city website. Commission recommends council approve the final plat for the first addition to the homes at Freedom Meadows subdivision, and I so move.
There's a motion by Alderman Steiner,
Second.
seconded by Alderman Stevenson. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none, please cast your vote on your voting device. That motion passes 8-0.
The second, the commission recommends council accept and place on file the Neenah Next Downtown Master Plan, and I so move.
There's a motion by Alderman Steiner, seconded by Alderman Skirms, I believe.
Sorry.
Alderman Steiner.
Yeah, I just want to really congratulate everyone involved in the new master plan, especially community development. I thought you did a great job. Clearly, a lot of work went into it. I think there's a lot of fantastic ideas, and if you haven't had a chance to take a look at it, I highly recommend it. It really presents a nice vision for the future, provides a lot of really helpful, useful information about the community, and I think it's set up so that it gives enough detail, but yet I think it's pretty easy to follow for everyone who wants to take part in reading it. So thanks everyone for all your hard work.
Okay. Deputy Director of Community Development, Brad Schmidt, will give a brief overview of the downtown plan.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Alderman Steiner, for those kind words. This was certainly a project that has taken a lot of time, but any of all those involved, I'm sure, understand the importance of our downtown, and we're willing to put the work into it. So I'm going to kind of just briefly go over the process and some of the major findings. There's a lot of detail in the plan. There's over 120 pages of some pretty cool renderings and some really good information. This plan was really made possible by our steering committee. Our steering committee was made up of 8 individuals, including Alderman Skirms, Mayor Lang, members of the downtown, both business owners and property owners as well. In addition, we've collected a lot of information from the community. We created an interactive map that had over 1,500 unique users that were able to identify things they liked, didn't like, or wanted improved in the downtown. So that was very helpful. And thank you also to the over 100 participants of the focus groups, the design studio that we held last summer, and then the open house that we held late last year. The plan's really broken into 4 components: connectivity, development options, waterfront, and neighborhood options. So I'll kind of just briefly hit on some of the major ideas that came out of all of these. Starting with connectivity options, this is a pretty novel idea, not only to Neenah, but to the entire Fox cities in Northeast Wisconsin. One of the challenges that I think most people understand is bicycles in the downtown are very difficult. You can't ride bikes on the sidewalk. Riding bikes in the street is fairly dangerous. So we have a pretty robust a trail network, a bicycle network within or outside of downtown to get to downtown, but once you're into downtown, it becomes very difficult and unsafe. So the idea here from our consultants was to create what's called a cycle track. A cycle track is like a bike lane, however, it is separated from the roadway. So in this case, you'd have a proposal for a bike lane cycle track on the north side of the street with a separated, possibly curb or some sort of other physical separation. The goal here was, again, to get bicycle traffic throughout the downtown with the primary focus of not impacting our parking. Parking is important. We heard that from our business owners. We heard that from customers. This proposal maintains parking or maximizes parking. It really kind of completes that gap between Loop the Lake on the west and the bike facilities along the east side of the city. But also, most importantly, it really provides a safe facility that does not have the conflicts that a traditional bike lane would have. Next, from a connectivity standpoint, we looked at the intersection of Millview and Torrey and the possibility of aligning those 2 streets. As Arrowhead becomes more popular, as that becomes a major entrance into the city, we really felt that there was an opportunity to help improve that intersection. So this could be accomplished one of 2 ways, either with a signalized intersection or a roundabout. So we really pushed our developers or our consultants to look at how that could function and what that looks like visually. In addition, this really serves the purpose of slowing traffic coming into downtown. It helps alleviate the issues of anyone trying to exit downtown off of Torrey Street onto Main Street, but it also provides an alternative route for traffic, particularly truck traffic that is looking for a relatively easy route around downtown. So from a visualization standpoint, again, I think we can talk about this in words, but to see it on paper and see it in an image like this really helps people visualize that. So just to kind of give you bearings here, here's Solaris, here's Millview, the warehouse site, the Plexus parking lot, and this is generally the location of where Torrey Street is right now. So next we look at development options. I think one of the major components of the plan, or what we were looking for initially as we drafted the RFP, was where are these development sites and what sort of opportunities or options do we have for development on those sites. So I'll kind of hit on some of these. Starting from the west, the far west end of the development is really the entrance into downtown from Main Street and Lake. So right now, what we really want to do is, what would this building look like, the Hofmeister building, in terms of a repurpose of it? It's been a building that's been in the city for a long, long time. It's had a number of industrial uses. You know, what does that look like as more of a mixed-use retail on the first floor, possibly residential on the second floor? In addition, you know, just from a siting standpoint, what other parts of the site could be developed? Clearly, this is a property the city doesn't own, it's privately owned. But again, just from a visualization standpoint, we really want to see how these pieces kind of fit together. Next, we look at that intersection of Torrey and Millview. As you come into the downtown, you know, this is an example of if a roundabout was constructed, you know, what could development look on the 4 corners? Obviously, you got Solaris on the north corner, you have the warehouse site. With the realignment of the street, it actually provides additional development opportunity next to Heritage Park. And then looking at where the Plexus parking lot is, if a parking structure was constructed, you know, what does that leave in terms of development opportunities? And then moving to the east side of downtown, we have the Chase site. Actually, through the process in working with the owner of this property, we laid out a number of different development opportunities, whether that's leaving the Chase building as is and building additional buildings on the site versus completely demoing the Chase building and looking how development and parking kind of function on that site. As we move to the east, this is a development option where we look at the hotel parking lot, where there is actually a structure that's built within that area, and how does development kind of function around there. We've looked at this possibility of providing a mid-block crossing from Doty to Wisconsin Avenue. With the elimination of Walnut many years ago, this block is fairly long, so it provides some opportunity for either vehicles or bicyclists or anyone to kind of get easy access to the library from Doty. Again, this is just looking, a rendering. Again, this is not saying what it has to be, but just kind of give people ideas, get people excited about what development could look like on the hotel parking lot and the areas to the west of there, or east of there, and just trying to see how that design could fit within this larger puzzle. Next, we look at waterfront opportunities. Early on in the process, there was some conversation about Arrowhead, and we felt that Arrowhead really needed to kind of be looked at on its own. So this plan really focused on the connections to Arrowhead. We know right now Gateway Park really functions as that main pedestrian connection between Arrowhead and downtown. This is an opportunity. What we heard from the public, from business owners, is it's not a very comfortable entrance into the park or into the downtown via the switchback along the tracks that are there. So there's really two options here: is an at-grade crossing with much more of a, I guess, an open concept that provides seating, that provides, I guess, a lot easier crossing at the rail, but also a bridge concept that it does a number of things. It takes you off the tracks. It provides some visibility. I mean, you get a little bit higher up there. You can see down through Wisconsin Avenue and over the lake. So those were the two options that we looked at for connectivity for Arrowhead. Next, we looked at a couple other options for making connections. Behind Plexus, there's actually, I believe there's a reservation for a public trail, and then there's some public green space behind Plexus. There's an opportunity to make that connection from Gateway to that area. In addition, we've talked about some of the challenges with the parking ramp on Church Street, particularly with large events. How do we get people in and out of that ramp effectively or efficiently? And the one option is possibly working with Kimberly-Clark to provide a ring road along their I guess, perimeter of their property. Looking at other waterfront options, Hewitt Island was a primary focus. We really pushed our developers to look at what's possible from a development standpoint. They did show two options in terms of uses. One's a hospitality use, a hotel. The other's kind of a market use, just kind of to show the different designs which could happen here. Both of the uses really were focused on providing public accessibility along the water or the canal, but also making connections to Shattuck Park. So the thought here is that this almost becomes an extension of Shattuck Park, provides easy access with some sort of bridge or trestle element, but also looking at the existing trestle that is really intended for Neenah paper as that, if that ever becomes available, it really serves a major connection point to Doty Island and possibly beyond to downtown Menasha. We didn't want to just focus on the commercial aspects of downtown. I think there was a really big opportunity to look at the residential side. Looking at Sherrytown neighborhood, this is a neighborhood that certainly has a lot of opportunity due to its proximity to downtown. It's walkable. It's a relatively affordable neighborhood. So the plan really talks about how do we increase home ownership in this neighborhood? How do we add a different mixture of different housing types to this neighborhood? So I think there was a lot of good ideas. I won't get into a whole lot of detail at this point, but the plan certainly gets into those details. In addition, we also asked the consultants to really get us a better understanding of what our retail market is downtown. So this is sort of a summary of those market findings. The plan has probably more detail than you'd ever want to look at, but certainly a lot of good detail. So some of the findings, again, I think are things that we kind of already knew, but the data kind of supports it. You know, the gaps in our retail are certainly the grocery stores, the specialty food stores, beer and wine type stores. So that's something that we've heard and people have wanted. As we have more residential in the downtown, that demand will continue to grow. So using this data, we can really work with businesses and developers to try to attract those types of business to downtown. I think one key component and a really important component is within just a 5-minute drive of downtown, there's nearly 19,000 people that live and work within that area. So that's important for businesses to understand that. That's something that we should really push and promote. Next, the housing component was really important. As all of you know, we've got 2 new housing developments in downtown. We really wanted to understand, based on the data, excuse me, how many housing units can our downtown support? So basically, again, there's a lot of data in the plan. They kind of looked at that from a citywide level, extrapolated that data down to the downtown level, and basically came up with that the downtown Neenah could support about 35 to 50 new housing units per year up until 2030. So this is really important information. Another, I guess, a key piece of this, and what I thought was pretty interesting, is the city of Neenah has roughly 17,000 employees, people who work within the city limits. The majority of them come from outside of Neenah. So only about 2,000 people work and live in Neenah, where about 15,000 come from the outside community. So this is an opportunity that downtown Neenah has to really attract those people who live in or work in, say, Plexus or Alta or some of those major employers in downtown to now live in downtown. So just a kind of a key finding that we had. So now that we have the plan was the relatively easy part. The hard part is always how do you get the implementation of the plan. Number one is we as staff, you as council, is how do we promote and market this plan? This would be something that we use and work with developers on. This is something that we really find as an important tool to the end and get this plan implemented. We use this as a guide for future development or redevelopment. So as development is happening, you know, how does that fit into the bigger puzzle, which is the plan? And, you know, we'll have to continue to evaluate and adjust this plan as needed as conditions change. This is a dynamic plan and not a static plan. And with that, that's pretty much the quick summary of the plan, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Don't see any questions. I really appreciate all your hard work and effort on this. We're back to the vote on recommending council accept and place on file the Neenah Next Downtown Master Plan. There's a motion by Alderman Steiner, seconded by Alderman Skirms. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, please cast your vote on your voting device. That motion passes 8-0.
And that concludes my report.
Thank you for your report. Board of Public Works meeting of April 12th, 2023. Vice Chairperson Hillstrom.
Thank you, Mayor. The minutes from this meeting can be found on the city website. This evening I have 3 informational only items and 1 council action item. First informational item A, the board approved pay request number 3 from London Construction Company, Black River Falls, Wisconsin, in the amount of $154,083.25 for work completed through March 31st, 2023, utilizing approved budgeted 2021 CIP carry forward funds, and this would be for the pier construction at Arrowhead Park. Item B, the board approved change order number 2, contract 11A-22, water service replacement on Radine Avenue and Zimlock Avenue Donald Hitbus and Sons, Little Chute, to extend completion date to June 30th, 2023. Item 3, board approved change order number 3, contract 11B-22, water service replacement on Hunt Avenue, Madison Street, and Nicolay Boulevard to Carl Bowers and Sons Construction of Kaukauna, to extend the completion date also to June 30th, 2023. The council action item this evening is the board recommends council approve contract 10-23 City Hall and Marketplace parking lot resurfacing, 2-inch mat overlay and Freedom Acres, Home of Freedom Acres, and Library Bump Out, Northeast Asphalt Incorporated of Greenville, in the amount of $347,995, and I would so move.
There's a motion by Alderman Hillstrom,
Second.
seconded by Alderman Stevenson. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none, please cast your vote on your voting device. That motion passes 8-0.
That concludes my report, Mayor.
Thank you for your report. Reports on neighborhood groups. Business Improvement District Board, Alderman Skirms.
Thank you, Mayor. The bid board met this morning. A few noteworthy items. Coming up this spring, the bid board hired Sparkle Wash to power wash the downtown sidewalks. Future Neenah is having a 40th anniversary celebration coming up. They're going to be opening 2 time capsules, so that should be pretty cool. The new snowflakes for downtown for winter season have been placed on order. Probably the most significant thing that came out of the meeting, our new bookkeeper looked back at the gift certificate account and identified that over the last 20 years this has been growing due to certain certificates that never get redeemed. So she was able to ascertain that if we go back 20 years and figure out what kind of redemption we're going to have in the next few years, she was able to identify $35,000 that will be transferred from Future Neenah account to the bid account. So that's super good news. And finally, if you have not been over to Lion's Tail yet, the 150th anniversary beer is now available. They are so excited about it. So cool. He went back and looked at 1873 brewery down by Lake Street, found the recipe of a beer they made then through the tax, alcohol tax something. He was able to figure out what ingredients were actually in, where they came from. So he's recreated that. So limited supply, check it out. And that ends my report.
Thank you for your report. Landmarks Commission.
Thank you,
Alderman
Mayor.
Steiner.
The Landmarks Commission met last week, Wednesday. Mostly the conversation was around some of the activities going on for the 150th anniversary. They've narrowed down several houses of great historical nature that will be actually have kind of a historical description from the Historical Society. And so it has, a lot of the founders, the individuals that first came through Neenah, and talks about who lived there and at what time period. And so I think the next step is approaching the homeowners and verifying they'd be comfortable with some kind of a plaque commemorating their home. And then also the canoe trip is on again. I was at last year's. It was a lot of fun. It's actually kind of like a Voyager canoe where it sounds canoe. It's actually like 18, 20 people can fit on it very safely. And they actually do kind of a history tour up and down the water, and they talk about when the French explorers came through and the English, et cetera, Native Americans at that time. So it's pretty neat. More to come on that. It's in June, but I don't recall the exact date at this moment, but we'll find out. And that concludes my report.
Thank you for your report. Parks and Rec Commission, Alderman Borchert.
Thank you, Mayor. Reporting out for Thursday's meeting again. We are, the 18th annual Touch a Truck will be held on May 3rd from 10 a.m. till noon at Memorial Park. Story Walk will be held up at Southview from May 6th to May 24th. The book featured is Llama Llama, Red Pajama. Thank that. They do it more dramatically. Llama. Okay. Just for information, we had a lot of people that had talked to us a little bit about increasing pickleball courts, and the need is increasing with the increased popularity of it. So Park and Rec Park and Rec Department did a survey, and some of the highlights that they pulled out were since 2015, the city has decreased the number of tennis courts by 5 and increased pickleball opportunities to 4 dedicated courts and 10 overlays. 4 dedicated pickleball courts puts the city in line with communities our size and use. Tennis registrations are trending downward. However, they're expected the registrations to be in line with last year's. Just again, another opportunity that I think the Park and Rec Department does and listens to the people here in Neenah and wants to offer opportunities that people are interested in. So I commend them on that. And then lastly, if you haven't been by Loop the Lake, the pier at Arrowhead is well underway. So that's exciting progress. End of my report.
Thank you for your report. Are there any petitions? There are no petitions. Are there any council directives? There are none. Is there any unfinished business?
I just have one quick item. Last Saturday, we made a lot of progress on the float for the 150 anniversary. Just want to do a special shout out. I'd be remiss if I didn't. Pat Benson, he has done this before, and he was a huge help and critical in regards to guiding us. Otherwise, we'd be running around like chickens with our heads cut off. Also want to thank Chris Hayes, Lee Hillstrom, Eileen McCoy, David Rashid, Kathy Boyette and her husband Derek, and Greg Radke. And appreciate the mayor for connecting us to Pat and talking to Greg and getting us that support. They certainly would have anyway, but that was really key. So thanks to everyone. The next goal is to have the creative part. So if you're interested in partaking in that, we're tentatively looking at April 29th. So it would be at the Cecil Street Garage. I'll send out an email in regards to more details. But now we've got the base, so now it's to make it look cool and neat in time for the parades. But hopefully I didn't miss anyone. Is anyone who was Chris or David, do you recall anyone that I missed on that list? But just want to thank everyone that was there. It was a huge help.
I'd like to thank you very much for your leadership on that. New business, Arrowhead Park Development Status Report, Alderman Hillstrom.
Thank you, Mayor. Arrowhead Task Force met on April 11th with Mike Bell here from RDG showing us the preliminary master plan. They combined the information from the open house in March, the online survey, as well as ideas from the task force and Parks and Recreation Commission to come up with this plan. The plan showed utility, community, and destination buildings, along with an amphitheater and a gathering area on the east end of the park closer to the downtown area. And the western half of the park was mostly prairie with some winding trails. We'll see the finished plan by the end of May with some cost estimates. That concludes my report.
Thank you for your report. Are there any other announcements or questions that could come before council? Director Hayes.
I mentioned to the council at the last meeting we try to coordinate a tour of the 201 West Wisconsin project. I've talked to Chairman Erickson about moving the Finance Committee on May 8th out to 7 o'clock. This is all tentatives. You'll get confirmation of all this, but we're looking at Monday, May 8th, probably starting at 5 o'clock at 201 West Wisconsin, and then moving the Finance Committee to begin at 7 o'clock that night. But I will follow up with a more formal invitation and notice of that event.
Thank you for that. Are there any other announcements? Just have a quick announcement regarding our council training reminder. Daniel Foth will be presenting that Alderman training on Thursday beginning at 6 p.m. until 7:30. So please join us for that. Any other announcements?
Is there any chance, are we recording the training by chance?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
We can look into it.
Okay. If there's a possibility, I won't be able to attend that on Thursday, I'm afraid.
Okay.
So,
Okay. I was going to get pizza, so I. No,
well,
yeah,
now,
you're really.
well, now I'm coming.
Yeah.
That's right.
More for the rest of us.
Okay,
That's
okay,
right.
change my mind.
That's right.
You just saved half the pizza here.
That's right. That's right. I can pack it away.
Are there any further announcements?
That's right.
If not, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you very much.
Broadcasts of the City of Neenah Common Council meetings are produced by University Studios of the University of Wisconsin, Fox Valley. Neenah residents can get information about City Council meetings, City Committee meetings, meeting agendas, and other documents via the City website, www.neenahgov.org. Neenah residents can express their opinions about city issues or about these broadcasts by contacting the mayor's office, contacting their city alderman, or by completing the electronic feedback form on the city website, www.neenahgov.org. All public portions of the meetings are recorded in entirety and are not edited for playback.